Hi, everyone. Wow, it's great to be here this evening. Thank you so much, Patty, for that wonderful introduction. Now, a lot of that introduction was focused on what I do now, which is, yes, I am now working in the world of AI and deepfakes, and that is really only because I'm trying something new. My most recent position at Techstars Seattle, unfortunately, the program was discontinued, and I find myself at a bit of a crossroads. But I wanted to call out one thing that we just heard Yolanda say, which is that less than 0.2% of venture capital dollars that are invested into companies that are started by Black women. And it's not much better for women at large. It's in fact only 2% of venture capital dollars that get invested into companies that are founded by women. And so that statistic, I think, is abysmal. It's embarrassing. It's $98 out of every $100 invested are being invested into companies that are founded by men. So when my investment days, which were not that long ago, that was something that really motivated me to be part of the venture capital industry and to work on behalf of founders to help them succeed. And so that is the why I do what I do, even though I'm not quite doing that right now because I'm trying something new. But I would like my guests up here on stage with me to introduce themselves and to also answer the question, why do you do what you do? So Maria, I would like to start with you.
All right, thanks so much, and welcome. I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. My name, yes, is Maria Kolby-Wolfe. I'm the president and CEO of Washington Women's Foundation. And the foundation sort of embodies why I do what I do. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then you'll see why I do it. We give out a substantial amount of money into Washington State every year. Over the years, we've put in about $21 million into Washington State in support of a variety of issues, challenges that are facing our communities, as well as our Women and Girls Fund, where we focus funding into those organizations that are in fact supporting women and girls as they face some of these challenges, sort of unique challenges that they face when they're in these embedded in these issues. And then our Rest and Repair Awards. And our Rest and Repair Awards support Black women leaders with $100,000 gifts with no strings attached, just because they're doing amazing work in nonprofit leadership. And that work, we feel, is important because women, as we have just learned, perhaps not for the first time, don't get a lot of investments in them. And we believe strongly at Washington Women's Foundation that we invest in women and amazing things can happen. I do what I do because I believe that properly fostered, coming together as women, coming together as people, is the only way that we are going to get the world that we all sit in this room and wish we had. You are not going to change the world by yourself. And so collaborative, collective giving, which is what Washington Women's Foundation does, is about coming together to make our impact greater. And that matters a great deal to me because I think it's the only way we get the world we want.
Thank you so much. Joanna, why do you do what you do?
Well, first of all, I should have thought twice before following Maria, that's for sure. That was really beautiful. Joanna Boisen, I'm the Chief Pro Bono and Social Impact Officer at Davis Wright Tremaine. Davis Wright is a national law firm with 12 offices across the nation. And in my role, I am responsible for all of the do-goodery that we do across the nation. So that is pro bono work, that is community-based work. And if you don't know what pro bono means, or if you're not familiar with the term, it's free legal services for people who cannot afford to hire a lawyer, right? So the premise here is making sure that everyone is able to afford access to the justice system, not just those who can afford it. I have the best job in the state and the nation, I would argue, because I am able to effectuate meaningful change for numerous communities, not just in the United States, but globally as well, by being able to set vision and strategy for those communities. Why do I do what I do? It has a lot to do with my childhood. I'll take you back to 1986, when I was a little girl. My family had just immigrated to the United States from Poland. I was 6 years old, and I saw firsthand how difficult it was to come into a new country try to start a new life, especially with two parents who had never gone to college. We immigrated here because Poland was a communist country at the time, and my father was very involved with the Solidarity movement, and it was not safe for us to stay there any longer. And I have to say, it was a highly traumatic time because trying to make it in a brand new country is very, very difficult. When I saw the struggles that friends, neighbors, people in our community, low-income immigrant community were facing, it was very obvious to me how unjust and how heartbreaking it was to see neighbors who were being evicted for no good reason, had no recourse. Family members whose wages were being withheld, had no recourse. Cousins who, had jobs that they loved and lost those jobs and were discriminated against, no recourse. So there were so many instances firsthand that I saw that underscored the importance for making sure that accessing the justice system was something that was reachable by everybody, right? And in the instances that I saw where pro bono attorneys did come forward, and it was very rare, by the way, I felt like those people were heroes. I would see those people and I would think to myself, wow, the scales of justice are now balanced once again, and whatever they do, and even as a small child I thought this, whatever they do, they're magical, right? That the saying, not all heroes wear capes, really, really applies in this scenario. And so I knew very early on that what I wanted to do with my life had a lot to do with serving communities like the one I came from.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Joanna. Now, Maria, you spoke a little bit about what Washington Women's Foundation is investing in, but how, beyond monetary contributions, can individuals invest in women? And I'd love for you to touch on time, on treasure, and on talent.
Well, the first thing I want to say is I don't want to discount the power of monetary contributions. So first things first, we have to remember it took a lot of money for the world to look the way it does now. And it's going to take a lot of money for it to not look the way that it does now. So we're going to need that treasure. That is absolutely one of the most important, not the most important thing, but it is important. I think it's important to remember that we are in a capitalist society. We may like that, we may not like that, but it does make the world of money a really important one for us to live in and face head on. I also think if we're serious about wealth and equality in this country, that we need to stop pretending like somehow it won't mean that some of us will have to give up something so that others can have more. This country does not need any more billionaires. That said, talent, yeah, you should clap, because honestly, talent is incredibly important as well. And I know, a lot of really skilled people in this room, and those talents can be brought to organizations and to communities that can really use those talents and maybe don't have access to them. I can even speak just to the organizations that I've worked for, and I've worked for quite a few here in the Seattle area. So for my own, at Washington Women's Foundation, we had a wonderful board member who knew a lot about social media. She had a skill to offer that we were not developing it very well. And so she gave us a whole working plan. Here's the plan. Here's what you're going to do every month and every day, and laid it out for us that we didn't have to do that work. That's a lot of treasure we didn't have to pay, right? So skills are really valuable. I'm going to steal some pro bono thunder for just a second, because I also worked for Northwest.
I warned her.
I was like, I'm coming in on your business. So I worked at Northwest Immigrant Rights Project for many years, and pro bono work, incredibly important work, especially in the world, well, especially everywhere in the justice system, but the immigration system is one where you're not required to have a lawyer by law for your defense. And so pro bono work is one of the ways that we can get some folks into our country who really are amazing human beings. That's skill, that's talent. And of course, yes, Giving your talent will take some time. There are things that you can do, though, with time that are also incredibly valuable for changing the world and making it a better place. And I'm reminded again, at NERP, we had some older white ladies, very lovely women, who had a lot of time on their hands. And one of the things that they would do was they would come down to the immigration court down in Tacoma at the detention center, and they would sit in the back of the room, and they would watch the immigration judges make their decisions. And their decisions would be different when those women were in the back of the room than when they weren't, because they had to face grandma sitting at the back of the room looking disapprovingly when they were not nice to people. Women have power just by getting in the room. So ladies, get in the room. And gentlemen, open that door. Open that door. So yeah, time, talent, and treasure. If you don't have one, you probably have a couple of the others. If you have all three, give them. The world can be better if you bring your gifts. You know, love is like a magic penny. Bring it into the room and spend it all over the place, and there'll be more pennies to go around.
I love that. So, Joanna, beyond the financial motivation that people have to make investments, what are other ways that people can invest in women?
So speaking from the legal world initially, it's really amazing to me how many opportunities we have to serve various constituencies, most of them very, very underserved. Women fall into that category, including girls. Unpacking that just a little bit more. So, women entrepreneurs, how do you get access to lawyers who can help you set up an entity, create a licensing agreement, contracts, defend your rights if they have been in any way breached or trampled on. The second way is, through domestic violence advocacy and sexual assault survivor advocacy. That kind of work is so, so important because these women need somebody to be their voice in court. And when you know how to navigate the legal system, you know how to make the right arguments. And then the third way would be, working with women who want to start 501c3s, nonprofit organizations that advance mission-critical work that help women and girls around the world. And there are so many out there doing amazing things, but there are so many more that women have these brilliant ideas. They're being bold. They want to start these, 501c3s. The hard part with that is who's going to, fill out your 1023? Who's going to create your bylaws? How about your articles? How about your conflict of interest policy, right? This is not an easy process, and getting that off the ground is impossibly hard. So making sure that, whether you're in the law or if you're in a different profession, you're thinking intentionally about what you can do to advance investment in women and girls. And there are so many ways to do that. And by the way, you don't even have to be an adult to do this, right? If you are a girl in this room and you're thinking to yourself, wow, I'm seeing all these women who have, these years of experience, and of course they can be up here speaking about how they can effectuate change, please know how powerful you are. So I invite you to the table and to get your ideas there too. I tell my daughter, who's right there, Sasha, wave, that she that she has the power to effectuate change. And so make sure you hear that and make sure you believe that, because I can tell you it is absolutely true.
Thank you for that. Maria, this is all about bold actions. And so whether large or small, how do we encourage those among women to support other women?
Whether large or small, I have a list. I have a list of things you can do, because I'm about here are some actions, go do the things. I'm just gonna start out with right now. Thank you for coming tonight and being part of this conversation and showing up. So number one, I think showing up would really be helpful in trying to make sure that you can make action happen, right? You really have to be, what did I say? You have to be in the room. That means you gotta show up. There's a lot of things. You can buy from women-owned businesses. You can hire women. Hire women personally and professionally. Is your lawyer a woman? Yes. Is your,
Should be.
is your wealth advisor a woman? Is your CPA a woman? I'm sorry, this is more for the adults in the room. But these are the questions you should be asking. Are you hiring women? Are you making your business, if you run a business or you're powerful in a business, are you making it actually open and friendly to women and to maternity care and to elder care and to the things that women are doing? Are you making your hours flexible so that people can run and pick up that kid who's sick at school? Are you making your actual place welcoming? Or are you using the excuse of we can't do that, no one else is doing that, to prevent you from changing the world? Be the change you want to see and do it. So that would be a big one. I'm thinking all these young women, mentor the women around you. Mentor young women coming up. It is so hard when you're not really sure how things work, to have that person ahead of you, and it can be at all different levels of work. I'm a CEO. You might be like, oh yes, well, then what mentoring does she need? You know how many Black women CEOs are older than me? Not a lot. So not having a mentor is a serious, I would like to have someone who could say, hey, here are some ways so you can think about what that next step looks like. I don't know, I'm figuring it out. Mentor people. Just to push my own business, join collective women's giving circles like the Washington Women's Foundation. But you can also create your own giving circles. You can come together as women in a group. All of you pool the dollars you have, and you will find you can give a much bigger gift to organizations supporting women's rights, supporting the work of girls. I know this has been said, and we're going to say it again. Vote. Honest to goodness. Get out there and vote. Be involved in your civic life. Be involved in the political world. The politicians making decisions about your bodies and about your way of being, they work for you. Go let them know whether they get to have a job or not. So I really would like to make sure that everybody is voting and making sure you know what it is you're voting for. All those judges at the end of your little voting thing where you're like, I don't know. Those are the judges making decisions about domestic violence cases. Those are the judges making decisions about rape cases. Those are the decisions that we want to make sure the people sitting in those seats making those decisions speak for our values. And so get in there, ladies, and vote. Please, please, please. And, last one. I promise, last one. There's a lot of really amazing women's sports here in this city. Go and support your women's sports. Go Rain, go Storm, come on.
Oh my gosh, that is a perfect one. I love that. I have two really quick examples about two of the things that you just said. I always like to tell people that everything is more fun with a friend. And on the topic of giving circles, when I had a group of women that I was part of where every month we would pick a different volunteer project, and between 8 and 10 of us would show up. And that was our way to get out in the community, but also to build a community among one another, which was a lot of fun. And I've already forgotten the second one because I'm looking at that countdown clock and it's stressing me out. We only have a few minutes left, and I promised that I was only invited to be the moderator because I swore that we would end our panel on time. So here we go. I would love to know, what is a local, small, women-owned business that you're supporting? And while you're thinking about it really quickly, I will give an example. I've gotten quite a few compliments on my dress. Thank you all so much. It's a rental is always my response when somebody says that to me. And I rented this from Armoire, which is a women-owned. All right, well, you already know.
Yeah, we were trying to.
Never mind. My second favorite is Wonderground Coffee. If you haven't been right up the street to Wonderground Coffee, it's a mushroom coffee. It's my favorite. So if I'm getting coffee with my legislator, that's who I'm going to go. That's where I'm going to go. Small women-owned business that you've been supporting lately. Up for grabs.
I feel like I've talked a lot.
Okay, Noir Luxe Candles, beautiful, beautiful candles. Black-owned businesswoman, amazing. The second one would be Molly Moons. If you, like me, like to eat your weight in ice cream, that's where you gotta go. Yeti is the flavor. And then, honestly, look at the community that you belong to and figure out a way that you can support a woman-based company. Think about that, because each one of you comes from a totally different community, and so you can definitely take our, suggestions, but really, at the end of the day, it's the communities that you belong to that need your support the most.
Maria.
Well, here to that. I also rented my dress this evening. And then I bought it because I loved it so much. So, oh well. I tried, I really did. But people that we use Girly Press at Washington Women's Foundation for all of our printing needs. We use, That Brown Girl Cooks and Black Pepper Catering, 2 Black women-owned organizations that do your catering. But this is the one I wanted to give you, I'm sorry, this is also for the adults in the room. Women wineries in Washington State. So I'm gonna give you some names, and if you forget, you can just email me and I'll rattle them off to you again. And I've gotten to the age where I have to tip my nose and go like this. Dama Wines, D-A-M-A, Damsel Cellars, Delmas, Leah Jorgensen Cellars, The Walls, Orr Wines, Frechette Winery. Shea Frechette is the first Black woman winemaker in Washington State. Her wine is great. Go and get some for the adults in the room. And yeah, but I love the local. I love the local buying. That is absolutely 100%. Armoire is local. 100% something that I can get behind too.
All right, we have one final question, and this was the only mandatory question on the panel. So I think we've all touched on it a little bit. But if you had to say, what is one bold action that you would like the audience to take at the end of this session or series, what would it be?
I'll let you have the last word. So I say big action. Give of your time, talent, and treasure in support of women's issues and in support of your community where women live, as a matter of fact. It says, I say small, but it's not. Vote. Vote.
Joanna.
I would say in situations where you're looking for opportunity and the door is not there, build your own door. When there is a situation where you do not have a seat at the table, bring your own chair. My entire career has really evolved around that. I've created every single position I've ever had at the 2 law firms I've been at, and before that. And really, it's up to you to take initiative and to be intentional about those steps, because we need you to be bold more than ever before. So please join us.
And I will have the last word on this. I challenge you all to introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know. It's something that you can accomplish tonight. You can get it done right now, and you can know that you made a difference. You never know. One of my mantras is also to always take the meeting. You never know where an introduction or a connection is going to lead you. Start tonight. Start building your network. We are all here to support one another, and we can make a huge difference. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.